Hello again everyone, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I thought it might be fun and festive to do a Christmas tree. So perhaps you need a last minute gift idea, or perhaps maybe a last minute decoration. This is a great idea. So follow along with me, get inspiration from it, copy exactly, or just do your own thing. Let's get started. So for the sake of time, I've taken this canvas already and I've prepared it in gold. This way. Doesn't really matter. I've prepared it in gold. So I have taken my gold Liquitex Basics paint and I have just put an even coat over the whole surface. It has a slight sheen to it. Let me use my phone and show you. You can see it has a slight sheen to it, and that's what we want. The gold does have a shine, which is a must for the technique that I'm going to use, which is a gold background followed by black is going to be the first color I'm going to use, and then I'm going to build it up from there. Now, for the sake of drying as well, I also recommend using a hairdryer when you're using acrylic paints to speed up the process of drying. If it becomes loud on the video when I'm using it, I will edit it out, so you won't have to worry about that if you're wearing headphones. But in my videos, always beware with headphones. The audio isn't amazing anyway. It's just the audio that comes with it. Yeah. So, first step is, let's get our palette. Like we said, I've covered the canvas with gold. That is going to be our light source when the tree is done, because we're going to be able to add rays of gold at the end coming through the tree to really, really make it look like there's sunlight or rays of light, giving it a nice 3D effect to it. So, to add depth and dimension, we're going to start with the black paint and figure out the outline of our tree. So, first of all, I'm going to take Liquitex Basics again. That's most of the paint that I have. It's a good mid-range acrylic paint. It dries fast. It is washable with water, and it has the smell is, I wouldn't say it's pleasant, but it's not overpowering like some oils can be. So I prefer it. So we're just going to get a nice glob of black right there. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to find, I'm sorry I'm looking down, my camera this is the angle that I get. It's not a very wide-angled view, so all of my brushes are down here, and all of my paints are back here behind me. So they will be off camera, but I'll try to show them to the camera. So I'm just going to grab a brush it's an angle brush, but it's just something to get the black paint on and figure out exactly how tall I want the tree, where I want the tree, where I want the ground. So very simply, take your black paint, get a good amount on your brush. You don't want the top to be too tall or too crazy, and you don't want it to be too thick at the top. So think thin starting out, and then it doesn't matter as you go towards the bottom. I'm thinking right about here, so it'll be nice in the foreground for me. And I'm just going to darken in my base, covering up all the gold. Ooh, this is brand new paint I just got today. AC Moore is closing, I think, all of its stores. And, well, I had to go and get some paint. Cheaper. Cheap and just cheap. Okay, so quickly, black all down here. And we will do stuff here later as well. Over the weekend, I got to hang out with a YouTuber, and that was a lot of fun. We did some metal detecting. he shot a video. I'm sure he'll post it eventually. But that was a lot of fun, and it made me think, you know, he's doing what he wants to do, and I'm like, man, well, if I've got extra time, why don't I do something? And so I thought and thought and thought, and then I thought of this painting specifically. So we can see where the center of our tree is and where the ground is. So here's the trunk of our tree. We are done with this brush for now. Now we need a fan brush. Now a fan brush is exactly what it sounds like. Looks just like a fan, not too thin, not too thick. This happens to be a number 6 fan brush, if that matters at all to you. And what we're going to do is we're going to fill the brush with the paint a little bit on both sides, and with a tapping motion. If you're familiar with, I think it's Bob Ross's technique of making a evergreen tree, that's what we're going for here. So we're going to start at the top of the canvas with just the edge of the brush, and we are going to tap back and forth and get thicker and wider as we get towards the bottom. And you want to zigzag or serpentine, and well, I need to go back over this and darken it in a lot for the purpose of this painting, because my paint got thin as I got to the bottom, which yours might as well, so this might be something you also want to do. I'm also going to add a lot more depth here by making darker area, a lot more darker area, because then I can add a lot more layers over top, which you will see in a minute. Now, you can see what I can see. Already we have something coming. Definitely a tree. Definitely we would be noticeable as a tree from a distance. Okay, pull out a little bit of this, a little bit of that. You want to kind of make it, almost even, almost perfect. For our sakes here, this is a Christmas tree, is the plan in the end, so we want it to be pretty symmetrical from top to bottom. So there we go. So I'm going to take more black here, and I'm going to fill in just a couple other areas just to really blacken it in. Okay, and down here on the trunk, we're going to be done with the fan brush, so try to wipe some paint out of it and get it in the water here to make sure it doesn't dry out. Now, for the trunk, I'm just going to get some black paint on a flat brush and just make sure to darken in the trunk as thick as I need it to be, as thick as I wanted it to be. Because we are going for a realistic tree in the end. So that trunk there was a little very thin for the height of this tree, the thickness of this tree. So, just like that, we fix that. So now the tree is proportionate to itself, well, to its trunk. So the next step in this process is very, very, very important. To dry it. If you do not dry it, you will create mud as the layers will all mix. So, medium heat, low setting, and dry. High setting. Okay, so the next step in our process is to get, you want to use a dark green, start with a dark green, and we'll get a nice glob of that. And if you don't have a dark green, you can use a light green and add, of course, a little bit of black to it and darken it a little. But I do have a dark green that is ready to go. And what we are going to do with that next is we're going to take our fan brush and clean it, because we need it again. Now, I'm going to clean the fan brush. And just dry it out. It doesn't matter if there's a little bit of water left in it. They are water soluble, so all it will do is thin our paint a little. Also, if there's a little black paint left in it, that is also fine, because we want this layer to be nice and dark. So we want to try to be careful now not to go onto our gold background and only try to stay over the black when we put in this dark green. Now, if you go onto the gold a little here and there, that is fine. And here we go. Things like that can be fixed. You just don't want to do it out here. If it's here where there's gold and here, this is fine, because you would be able to see this on a normal natural tree. But everything will be fixed later anyway when we start to add highlights and things, because things will stand out and pop, and that will hide other problems. Remember, we're not going for, I mean, you can go for a high quality art. You could be going, you know, maybe you do want to pursue this as art to try to sell it. That's fine. You know, then paint every painting like a masterpiece. But for me, in this instance, I'm talking my way through it, so obviously I'm not having full concentration. So there's going to be mistakes here and there. Now, for the sake of time, I'm going to go ahead and just go over here, and I would try to have maybe done the trunk first so that it's hidden and do it completely, but for the sake of time, we're just going to do it later, and I think it'll look fine still. It will look great. It will be beautiful. That is the plan, man. Okay, so dark green achieved where we wanted it. There's a couple spots that go over into the gold, and now that I'm looking at it, that's perfectly fine. It looks great. It actually adds to it. You know, you start to see the color of the tree back in there, and that's great. So once again, wash your brush, because we are going to a lighter green in a second. But let me wash the brush first. Hard to do this with one hand, or 2 hands, or 5 hands, but it's fine. We're going to dry this off as good as we can. Okay. Now, the most important part, of course, is drying again. The layers is what gives us the depth. Now, how do we do the next layer? Well, we have a lighter green than that, and then a lighter green than that, and then we'll do almost a yellowy green, and then we'll go to, well, the snow, because, well, our Christmas tree is obviously outside, so we're going to have snow on it. So the next thing to do is just take a whoop. That's the sound of needing a new tub of paint. So our next color is a little bit brighter green. And here we go, right back up to the canvas, starting at the top again, of course. And this time maybe being more precise and more careful, because this layer shows up way more than the last layer. So we make sure we don't glob it. We want to make sure we leave. You want to also make sure you can always see through the back still, because you want to make sure you can see the last layer. Don't cover it completely. So try to think about maybe, you know, how an area is going, or how you want it to look right now, because this is where you're going to start defining it. So just go here and get out here, and then out here a little, and back to the center, and here, and out here, and oh, let me look up here what you guys can see, and we're getting the desired effect, which is the layers, which gives us dimension. All All right. Now, of course, as usual, the next step is, you got it, dry it. Now, you might think, oh, this is so much. Well, it's actually not, because to get the effect, artists for centuries have waited for layers to dry before doing the next one. And so technology lends us the hair dryer. So we dry. And so for one of our last layers here, this is layer 4 if you're keeping count. If you started counting with the black layer, which is the darkest, which gives us our shadows in the back. The foreground, you won't need to do anything until, well, for our outside purposes, it's going to have snow. So it's going to have white, and then followed by a very, 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 very light touch of blue added to make an icy white on one side or the other, depending on where you might want some shadow behind your tree. So we have our last green, a very, very light green, which we are going to be starting at the top again, of course, and more sporadic and more spaced than all your other layers would be this one. So during this layer, you want to make sure you can see the most amount of other layers through it. So doing this one the least is what is really going to help get the desired effect. If you put this one on too thick, you won't see any of the layers and your tree will look this color completely. Now you get this same effect on a painting if you were doing many multiples of trees and doing all different colors, doing one tree at a time, making sure that you went from maybe dark reds through oranges to bright yellows and things like of that nature to do maybe fall colors. So keep that in mind. A little more paint here. It's a very forgiving technique because your eye tends to go everywhere, hiding a lot of mistakes and a lot of flaws in the painting. So, right about there, I would call that a finished upper part of the tree. It looks great. It served its purpose. We are going to clean the brush again because we do need this brush again. Now, why am I cleaning this one so much? Well, I'm showing that you don't have to have 15 of each brush to complete a painting. This painting, I think I won't use more than 3 or 4 brushes, different brushes total. Well, I say that now, and watch, we'll instantly get to something else. So, one more time, just like before, dry. Now let's go ahead and attack this. Lower part here. What I'm saying, we just need a little yellow. I think a dark yellow here with a little bit of black we already have here will make us a little bit of brown. So we'll just get a angle brush sorts here and mix us a little bit of yellow and black with a little bit of green and get us a muddy brown color, which goes more towards the green, which is fine because in this case we are not looking. The detail on this painting is going to be in the details on top of the Christmas tree, of course. Sorry, I was trying to concentrate there, trying to make my tree down here come alive a little, just a little, because it should have some life, some feet, some foots, something here like that. Okay, then we can take a lighter green and mix it. And we can do all this wet here because we're not trying to impress anybody here with our trunk, because it's probably going to be hidden with presents or whatever you've decided to paint maybe at the base of your tree. Alright. Now we'll come back later and we'll add some snow on that or something. It'll be fine. It will be fine. Alright, now, let's get that dry real quick so we don't mess anything up. I just can't stand it, so I'm going to use a little bit of white, just a little bit of white real quick, mixed with some of this brown, and fix the tree. Just give it a better appearance in the base there. Let's see here. Okay, so got a little bit of light source here. All right, now add a little bit of shadow here. Just a little bit of shadow here, a little bit of coming down here, I guess. Right, here you go, over here, on the back side. Yes, so there we go. A little bit of like that, and there's your 3D effect by just adding a layer. So I make it look like there is a like a bone, almost like a rib or a stream of light. The light is obviously hitting, and we'll make the light hit it better later. So if you lost me there, I apologize. But at the bottom here, I like to make so it's just like part of the roots, like the roots continue out from the bottom of the trunk is the word I'm looking for. Okay, so the next thing we are going to do is decorations. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do multicolored balls and then maybe strings between them to make it look like lights, maybe. So first we'll just do the multicolored balls. So let's take light blue, dark blue. Oh, we got that sound of needing new paint. Again, that's fine. Just a little bit will do it. We got purple. We've got, let's do bright green, I guess. No, that will clash. Let's not do that one. Let's do bright yellow. That could look like a light. Okay. And we've got red, of course. Gotta have red. And let's see. Red, green. We've got orange here. We do have a different color green. So maybe we'll just use this color green. Okay. And then we need a... I think that'll be fine, actually. Well, maybe a pink. How about that? Yeah, we have a rose pink as well. A little bit of that. Okay. So, just a very self-explanatory. Find yourself a brush about the size of the ball you want to make. And pick a color and make a bunch of that ball. So I picked yellow. Boop, 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 boop. And colors that will tend to disappear out by the gold, keep them towards the middle, so they go over other colors. Now, for the sake of time, I will go ahead and switch brushes for each color, because that'll just take a long time to do it. So, then we got, let's do this. Let's do green balls next, see if they show up. Oh yeah, they're fine. Oh yeah. And so to make the green balls show up, just try to put them where they'll show up. Easiest way I can think to explain that. So green balls. Okay. We'll do, here we go, use this brush, and we'll do red balls now. They'll show up pretty good, because there's nothing red in the painting yet. So trying to keep them all about equal size, equal distance from each other. If they're not all ball-like, well, that's just because it's twinkling. Let's say that. Alright. Alright. Okay. Okay, almost got it. Almost got it. Alright. Hopefully this video isn't taking up too much of your day. I hope that it inspires you, like I said, to go out and paint your own painting. Okay. Get a little bit out of that one. Put it there. Okay. So I think we'll call that done with the red dots. And now we'll move on to, how about pink? Pink dots, and we'll see how that goes. They might show up even better. Oh yes. Now it's your Christmas tree, so if you know, you just want your certain colors you always do on it, that's fine. I want my Christmas tree to be a rainbow of colors, because it is out here. Oh yes. These colors out here with this gold background, it deserves to be very colorful. Now, let's go. We can go from the pink right into purple and do a few of these. They pretty much blend well, so let's go right into blue. Yes, look at those. Ooh, I like the blue. I like the blue because I left the purple and the pink, so some of them are really weird. Very strange color. Cool. Cotton candy color. Yes, I like it. I like it a lot. I like it. Okay. Alright. Now, I'm going to call that good on all the colors. I don't know how well they show up on the camera. Apologize if they don't. I will zoom in the end and give you guys a great view of it. So the next step is, I think there should be maybe some thin lines over the painting. Thin lines of to perhaps look like maybe we can do tinsel. What would look like tinsel, because I have silver paint. So let's see what happens with this. I don't know what's going to happen, but let's see. Maybe a little bit of water here. See if we can thin out. Let's see. I don't know. Oh, and notice what I almost forgot. Drying. That would have just smeared the balls everywhere. Okay, and I also thought of a better brush, a better way of doing the tinsel. So we're going to grab a little silver paint on a tiny little flat brush, and we will just grab it and pull from where we want it to hang. it is silver, so it should dry looking like little shiny threads, because that's what tinsel is. So depending on how you want it on your tree, mine will look like little icicles is what it's tending to look like here, it seems, which is fantastic. That I couldn't ask for more with that. You can make sure some overlap some of the balls, some come out of the balls. This can also hide some of your mistakes or your flaws. Of course, not any of those will hide the mistakes and flaws in our own lives. Just kidding, I wasn't going to start getting into anything. Just kidding. Try to stay positive on this channel. Always. Because good vibes feel good. Alright. And hey, if I haven't already said, if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. If perhaps you came across this video and were like, oh man, I want to try to paint that. Well, come on. This is just little downward strokes in a few spots here. I mean, it's starting to look good. I mean, I don't want to go, don't muddy it. You know, always make sure you do enough of each thing, but not too many. You can always add more later, but it's very hard to take them away. So let's dry this layer. Let's dry these the little tinsels. Now, of course, we want to imply winter. So we are going to take a different dish here and only put white in it for the tree itself. Yes, squirting white everywhere, even got some on my shirt, which is fine. So, now to put the white paint on, we are going to use, that's right, our fan brush again. Now this is going to be our snow on top of the tree. So we don't want to put it everywhere, but we want to think about where the snow would fall. So if it's snowing, the snow is going to hit the outer branches, and we want to try to think about this is an outer branch, but then there would be an outer branch towards the middle as well, maybe near it. So we want to keep that same zigzaggy and maybe go the opposite of it now, putting a little more here and there, not to hide in the back. So you want to be very careful. So also making sure your layers are dry, this will work, this technique will work perfect. So, just a little bit here, and we're gonna go right on top of there, right on top of here, right there a little, right there. Okay, there's a little there. Okay, and when I'm doing this too, I'm tapping and I'm pulling down, just slightly, so that it maybe looks like it's sitting on top or hanging there. So sitting right on top and down. Put a little bit out to here and down. A little bit right here. Every now and then too, you're hiding some of the balls so that they're only maybe half visible, which also then makes it look like they're hanging on the tree because the snow's covering them. Leaving little spots where you can see through. Okay, and also what you can do with this is you can, watch right here, there's no branch here that goes out, but now there is because I put snow on it. So the branch is covered with the snow. So this can give my tree even more of a 3D effect. And I think it's showing through on the camera. I'm sorry I keep looking over at the tree, but I want to see if what you see is what I see. Now I sound like I'm making some type of rhyme. Okay. Do you see what I see? You get what I'm going. Okay. A star twinkles in the night. Da, da, da. I don't think I know the rest of that one. Hey for the side. I mean, if we want to do some jingle bells, we do some jingle bells. Anyway, let's get the snow done, because this is almost the last part. Alright, so there is our snow. Let's see if we can add a little more here and here. Okay, there is our snow for up top. Now, just using our fan brush, we are going to add the snow on the bottom. So in the back here, going right behind the tree, you want to stop it. Okay, coming along the base of the tree here, we're going to make it go up onto it some. Make it go up onto it so it's almost like a snowbank, like it was blown in. You make the sound, you know? That's the snowbank sound. Okay, and then we're gonna a little more here. We're gonna fill in back here. Bring it over. All right, now just taking the white here. We're gonna fill it in all over the black. Okay, filling in that white, leaving it like that. Now we're going to take a light blue, Liquitex Basics, of course. Leave a tiny, tiny dot of it. And with that tiny dot, we're going to mix it with some white. And it's going to be an icy blue. And with that icy blue, we are going to, let's make it more defined here. So it's going to be, might want to make it a little bit lighter on yours. I'm going to do it so it shows through. So we really can see the icy blue over here behind the tree. And then we'll take it right through here because we can, and bring it right up through the foreground in some spots, making it very, very wintry, but giving a separation between the snow that's in the tree and the snow that's on the ground so that they look different. But what we can do is we can take the same icy blue and add just a little bit of depth and color by just coming back in just a couple random spots and leaving that icy blue with the white, and it makes it look extra frozen. So, as always, make sure your brushes get into the water so that they don't get ruined. Now, we're going to dry one last time and make sure everything is dry, because the special part is coming up very shortly. Alright, now I just noticed that I have a little mistake. I'm going to get some gold real quick and take a brush and just fix it, hopefully, very simply. And hopefully just make it all disappear into the background. I got some red on my finger that I got over here, I see. So I'm just going to hopefully make it all just disappear right back into the background. And yes, we did. Well, pretty much anyway. Get a little more here and cover. Alright. Pause this video real quick and I will be right back. Alright, so I gotta just go ahead and... Okay. Now, for the exciting part. Now that everything is dry, everything is not dry. That's fine if this down here isn't dry, because we're only going to be working up on the tree. So the tree is dry. Yes, the tree is dry. So, now, you can put a star on top of your tree. You don't have to. I think I am going to. But my star is going to be done in copper, a copper paint. So I'm going to go ahead and take a little dollop of that, because I just realized I wanted to add a star on top. Taking a small brush, I will make a star. Didn't need all that paint, so I scrape it off and increase the size of the star just a little to use up the rest of the paint. Now that is a sad star if I've ever seen one. Let's even extend it out just a little bit more. Okay, that now I love these copper paints and these iridescent paints because they just work so well. Let's dry that real quick. Dry that real quick, and let's hit it with black, and then we're going to go back over it with copper again. Because it didn't stand out enough. So get rid of this brush, put the black away, let's dry it again. Okay, now we're going to go over it with the copper again. Get a small brush here, copper it up. Trying to make it a little 3D by adding some lines and things like that, but that's going to be about all you can do with it. Okay, dry it. Now, of course, the star has to have a little bit of snow on top of it, because it would be weird that it didn't. So we're going to take the brush, dab a little bit of white on a flat brush, and right on the side of the star. Alrighty, now we are moving on to the best part of the whole painting. Let's make sure the star is dry and make sure the tree is dry. Now, for the rest of this painting, the only thing you're going to need, besides the brush you'll need to sign your painting with, you're going to need, we need a thin, flat brush that won't hold too much paint. And this will work right here. This guy. You only need that and a little bit of gold paint, and I'm going to bring the camera over here in front of the painting so that you can really see this happening up close. Alright, let's move you. Get my stool out of the way. We'll do this in real time, so I apologize in advance for the shaking of the camera. Here we go. Try to do it in a couple fluid motions so that it's not too crazy. So, here is the tree we have been painting and working on. And what we're going to do now is we are going to add, sorry about my shadow, the light in front is darker than my light in the back. I tend to like to work that way. So I'm going to put this just to the side of the painting, right about here. And what we're going to do is we are going to take gold paint. Let me actually go ahead and just kneel down here in front. We are going to take gold paint. Let me adjust this. There we go. Well, if I don't drop the gold paint and get it all over the floor. We're going to take gold paint and we are going to make streaks of light coming from within the painting in different, in mostly the same direction. So to keep it so the focal point, the center of the tree, is what is facing us. So the light will come like this. So how does that work? Take your gold paint, get a good amount on your brush, choose a place, so right about here I think is where the light could come from, and we'll extend it. Boom. Can you see it? Can you see the light? So right from here, we're going to make the light come right out of here, right here. Right from here. Boom. And maybe right from here. Okay, and it's going to go off this direction. Right there. Right here. Bam. Maybe there'll be one right here that's going to come straight down. And you want to keep your brush straight. Because if you don't make them straight, if they swiggle, they won't look like true rays of light. Let's do the next one here. Yeah, then the next one here, coming from the center maybe. And this one up here coming out. We'll get one right about here. Right about here. Get one here from the middle. Maybe there's one coming from right here. Oh yeah, right across. Get one up in here. Oh, right up here off the top. Shoom, shoom, shoom. Maybe this guy is shining out. Shoom, shoom. Okay, you can put some rays coming off the star, across the gold. You'll still be able to see them somewhat up there. And then maybe right across here. Right from here, there's light coming out. So, there we go. Our rays of light are coming out of the tree, from the tree, around the tree, and it gives it this great presence. Speaking of presence, let me move you all back and over, and let's add a present or two under our tree. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to. I'm going to go ahead and sign this painting because I think it looks unbelievable. I think it looks great. I think it looks done. So I'm going to go ahead and sign this painting. I'm going to sign it using some black. Just a little bit of black and a little bit of water, making it almost like an ink. Go ahead and sign this painting. Alright, and I'll go ahead and leave a date, 2019 of course, because the year is almost over. So we'll leave the date there, and let's zoom in on the final product. We'll zoom in and start at the top of the tree, and you can see the rays of light coming through and around and coming over the ground. You could easily add some presents under this tree. No problem. Well, yes. So, I would like to thank everyone for returning to my channel. I would like to tell everyone about a lot of videos that I have planned coming up. I bought a bunch of canvases, so if there's anything that you would like to see, or maybe it's something that you want to paint, that you'd like to see someone else paint first that you haven't seen done, leave me a message in the description. In the description, leave a message. That is not the right way to say that. Leave me a comment below, and I'll be sure to get back to you. You could also drop me an email at crucialfarms@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you there. And as always, guys, hit that subscribe button, and I'll be seeing you real soon. Thanks for staying with me for this hour. All right. Bye-bye.